people never dreamed that the river could get that high. They never dreamed that there would be a rain that wouldn't stop for days and days. They couldn't stop the rain. They couldn't stop the flood.
Among the people like myself, of my age, it's a major landmark. It's a major landmark. 2/3 of our city was underwater. It was huge.
It rained every day, 31 days in January. Oh, it rained and rained and rained and rained.
The radio said, the water is coming over the flood wall. Your belongings are not your priority. Get out and save yourself.
We have referred to this, we again being my friends, is it made us strong. We use that term a lot. It made us strong.
Our area was just one of 1,000 that was being hit.
Well, it affected the whole family and the whole town and my father's business, and you know, a total loss for many people.
We didn't really have that much to start out with, and then the flood took away part of that.
37 was certainly the big one for us. All those communities, all the way up the Ohio River, all the way up to Pittsburgh, they all had the flood.
The Ohio River begins its journey in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and flows for nearly 1,000 miles until it joins the Mississippi in southern Illinois. The river drains an area of 204,000 square miles and is relied upon to provide drinking water, hydroelectric power, and transportation for millions of people. While the Ohio is a powerful ally to the communities along its banks, it is also a conduit for one of the most devastating and uncontrollable forces of nature: floods. Despite modern advances in flood control, including dams, levees, and flood walls, flooding remains a part of the life experience of those who live along the river.
It was a sight that you never expect to see again, all the houses sticking up out of the water. And I was 15, but I didn't realize all the devastation and the hardships it's going to cause everybody. I didn't think about that. I just hoped it'd hurry up and get down so I can get back on dry land.
Portsmouth, Ohio is a quintessential American river community located at the confluence of the Ohio and Scioto rivers in the south-central part of the state. Like the nearby communities of Ironton, Ohio, Ashland, Kentucky, and Huntington, West Virginia, Portsmouth's history is closely linked to the river.
The river and commerce along the river has always informed the Portsmouth community in one way or another. It's tremendously important to our identity, and we know something of its historical significance.
We like to think of Portsmouth as being a river town that has had a lot of historical significance through the years, back through the 19th century and into the 20th century. Portsmouth was a fairly major port along the Ohio River.
Like many communities along the Ohio, Portsmouth also has a long history of battling the river's floodwaters, having experienced major floods in 1884, 1907, and 1913.
If you go back in the history of Portsmouth, there were regular floods from the founding of this community at the beginning of the 19th century. The community has always kind of paced itself and even accommodated the flooding of the river.
In response to the flood of 1913, the Army Corps of Engineers constructed a massive 62-foot flood wall and a system of pumping stations designed to protect the city from the river. Portsmouth's flood control plan had worked and protected the city for 24 years.
It kept out many high water, but it had always done the job up to this time.
Y'all took it for granted that we were safe after the flood wall was put up.
However, in 1937, massive flood waters would return to the communities along the Ohio, and the city would be tested once again in a battle of survival against the mighty Ohio River.
They didn't expect it to get so high. That was unheard of for that river to get that high. It came right over that flood wall that the city had built to protect it. It came right over that flood wall.